What up, peeps? Listen, I'm still in shock, I think, just about like everyone else after last night's episode. And yes, I'm talking about the Penguin. The fucking Penguin. Possibly the greatest supervillain of all time. Who would have thunk it, right? Not the Joker, not the Riddler, fucking not even Thanos. Oswald fucking Cobblepot, Oz Cobb. This show is just by far the best thing that DC has ever put out. Well, one of the best things DC has ever put out. Yeah, man. You know, I gotta say that the show itself has been a 10 out of 10. The season finale, 10 out of fucking 10. If you thought Oz was a piece of shit before, you really, really fucking just hate him by the time this is over. Colin Farrell said it best, when they interviewed him at the beginning of the show. He said, you might, like the guy at the beginning, but by the time the show ends, there's no way in hell you're going to like him. And you don't, this transformation, it's not even a transformation. You just see who this guy really is. And fucking A, man, he is... What they were able to do with the characterization of not only Oz, but the character arc for Oz, Sophia, Vic, everyone on this fucking show, phenomenal. The tone, cinematography, soundtrack, storyline, everything was just on par. The writers were able to write and just do their own thing, and they just let it flow and happen. We have two unhinged characters on this. If the story was written any other way, they would be the perfect partners, but they're not. Sophia and Cobb, Oz, are just unraveling. They both are out to prove themselves and out to be these top figures, and if only they can make it work together, could they rule the city? But that's not how things work right now in the world. But it's really interesting also, speaking of Sophia, to see how in each episode, she's comes out of prison and she's put herself together and just herself unraveled. By the time this episode ends, she's completely fucking unhinged, setting fire to her own fucking house and just ready to go. That last fuck you, like, that Oz pulls on her is just awesome. Crazy. It's nuts to see all the missing, all these pieces that are just moving, and Oz just finally get to where he needed to get. And there's a couple episodes back where Oz has this meeting with all the head runners of the mob bosses of Gotham and other lieutenants, and they all kind of give themselves a look. I knew at that moment there was going to be a coup at some point, and they happen in this one. All the lieutenants take over, and they get Sophia. And in an ultimate fuck you, instead of killing her, Oz sends her right back to Arkham, which is way worse than fucking killing her. And, we have one of the craziest fucking confrontations and emotional moments in television history, I think, between Oz and his mom, when we find out last episode what happened to his brothers. And then now we know his mom knew this whole fucking time and was just using him as a means to an end to have him move up the ladder and use his evilness to her advantage. That hopefully he would get to a point where he can be financially stable and put her in power and just, be that person he could possibly be, that he has those ambitions that he wanted. But also the revelation that she thought about killing him, sending him away with Rex, and just fucking being rid of him. Like, so much fucking darkness there. And that moment that Sophia has them discussing that whole night, like, it's nuts. It's nuts. to know that she's been living with this hate and just utilizing Oz, it's a whole different thing. And Oz still in his fucked up head still loves his mom no matter what. He saves her. She has a stroke, takes her to the hospital, and still has his mom hang up, right? And then he's still finding ways to make moves and get to where he needs to. And he finds the angle of what we know in the comics. He starts moving his way through the office, right? Sets up those plays, as I mentioned before. He sticks Sophia in Arkham and has her take the fall for just about everything, right? The Hangman's back in prison. He's going to ruse into office. He's making deals there with the government officials. Get a lot of clues as to what's coming up in the Batman 2. Like, there's a vibe going on here and some tones and some imagery that I see. I'm thinking Court of Owls is coming up, man. Really thinking Court of Owls. Honestly, I was hoping some Killer Croc shit, but Court of Owls would be really cool. It looks like that's what's coming up. We also get some teasers with what I was hoping was going to get mentioned is Sophia's half-sister, Selena Kyle. She drops her fucking letter. So we got that playing into the sequel. But overall, just seeing how incredibly evil Oz is just nuts to me, man. Like, you think you know and you just don't. Like, he's a promise to keep, and no matter what, he's going to get there to the point. And it's such a heartbreaking moment, and you knew it was coming, but you didn't know it was going to be such an intimate moment and such a hands-on moment. Vic is his weakness, man, and it's in the way. And when he chokes the life out of him and dumps the body there and takes his ID and gets rid of his ID, like, just, he's nothing. Like, that moment right there, just, I mean, this is one of many, right? To show he just doesn't he doesn't give a fuck. He needs to do what he needs to do to get to number one. And he does it. So many disturbing scenes, so much crazy imagery. I mean, what they were able to do with Oz and change him up and bring this gritty world to us is amazing. Colin Farrell killed it. If he doesn't clean up during award season, it's a fault to the system. He was able to give us so much charisma and make us hate this guy at the same time. It's astounding, man. It's astounding. And let's talk about that fucking the way the show ended. Finally, some mention, sort of. We get a bat signal in the air. Finally get a fucking bat signal. Now, I was actually hoping we'd see a cape kind of floating in the back, but I'll take a bat signal. It was bound to happen. And to know that this is leading into the Batman 2, which is only going to take place a few weeks after, similar as to the time between Batman and Penguin, is awesome. They're just back to back and just going into the flow. I'm really hoping that this whole Matt Reeves universe and what him and Lauren LaFranc were able to do with this property, that they can carry it on to the next properties, because it was amazing. This is what we need. This is what the Batman needs. This is what DC needs. No hand holding, man. Just let them do what they do, and we can get such great production, great characterization. I loved every bit of it. Again, it was a perfect show for me. Every bit of it, in and out. I'm still in shock. R.I.P. Vic. R.I.P. Francis. She never wanted to be a vegetable, and she's in hell now, man. She's in that fucking window, staring into space. That teardrop, that wasn't happiness. That was just dread. Oh, dude, so much misery going on in that last episode, man. But she's in her own hell. She's living in hell, dude. Yeah, man. Let me know what you think about this episode and the whole series down below. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and remember, appreciate you.